Not sure what doctor it is. I know he's going to see a specialist that I believe can help him with his Achilles process, and I think he's doing that over these next few days, and hopefully it'll help.
But if it was a playoff game a couple weeks ago, he would have been good to go, right? Please. What a joke that was. And then just a month ago it was, if it was a regular season game, I think I'd be good to go. He's not good to go. Anytime you have to go to Germany for treatment, you got to go outside of the continental United States. It's probably not great. I know everyone thought of Kobe when he was always going to get the Kobe treatment. Different. Kobe was knee related. This is Achilles related. And I believe Kobe got that the plasma treatment, which again you can get in sometimes the United States doesn't offer. You go somewhere else, they do that, come back. It helped Kobe. I mean, he won a couple championships post Germany trip. So is it plasma related? I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I get Doc Pongia on this UCSF Health. We love him. Love you, Doc, if you're listening. You're up this early, Doc. He's definitely listening. I've talked to him about it. He's up this early. Doc, if you're listening, why is he going to Germany? What do they got over there? I know Augustus Gloop is from there. Eats a lot of chocolate. There's good chocolate over there. I think Haribo is actually based in Germany. There you go. The gummy bears. The more you know. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text, folks. Is it time to panic about this 49ers team right now? No Hargrave. CMC's going to Germany to get his Achilles checked out. Brock Purdy, by the way, he's dealing with a back injury.
His MRI was good, so we feel good about that. Sore today, and hopefully he'll feel better by Wednesday.
Sore back, just carrying the team. Yeah, I saw that joke a bajillion times. I thought I'd just say it. This is a massive game against the New England Patriots in Week 4, and I didn't think I was going to be saying that a month ago. This is a huge game all of a sudden. And we'll worry about the Patriots a little bit later in the week. But Bonte said it yesterday alongside Joe Shasky, and they'll be on at the top of the hour. And I'm sure they have a lot to say about what's going on here. Sky's not falling yet, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't feel like Daniel Craig and James Bond right now. If you get that Skyfall reference, thank you. That was to you. Like, the Patriots got embarrassed last week against a division rival, a team that they have dominated for the last century in the New York Jets. They are going to be coming in as the tremendous underdogs at Levi's, and the 49ers cannot take them lightly. Not to say that they would have in general, because I think for the most part, Kyle Shanahan teams don't sleep on anyone, although last year against Cleveland, what did we all say? I was saying it. Oh, PJ Walker. They don't have Deshaun Watson. Please. Winning this game. Easy. It's just not a matter of winning for the 49ers. It's a matter, how does it look? They need to blow them out. And then they lost. Jake Moody missed it in the rain. Brock had a couple of bad rain moments in that game where we were all like, oh, Brock, not a bad weather quarterback. But ultimately, he led them down the field to eventually try to win the game. Missed kick is what it is. Probably the first, time everyone's like, Jake Moody. I know we were all thinking it in the preseason, but in the regular season, that was the first time where it's like, ugh. Up until last week, obviously, where he missed that 55-yard kick in SoFi Stadium. So where are we at, Niners fans? 888-957-9570. Is it time to order the code red, a la A Few Good Men? Is that what we're doing now?
Did you order the code red?
Dante Whitner is.
Code red. I'm ready to hit the red button.
Ooh.
And mainly because they're not doing anything well. They're not stopping the run. They're not setting the edge. They're not getting consistent pressure on the quarterback. They're not stopping the explosive plays. They're not tackling well. They're not communicating well. They're not playing leverage. They're not doing anything well right now. And the margin for error is very slim in the National Football League. And when you're not right where you're supposed to be, you don't have the continuity on defense, it's easy for teams and quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford and of his caliber to dissect you. So they're going to have a players-only meeting this week, and get back to basics and get back that championship DNA and identity and play physical within the trenches.
A players only meeting after 3 weeks? That's, oh. And hey, I'm not scoffing at Dante Whitner. That guy's been in huddles before. He's been a part of locker rooms. He's been a part of teams that have been to a Super Bowl. He's no scrub. He's a very high-level player and a huge thumper at that. Nothing but respect for Dante Whitner. But we're talking players-only meetings this early into the season? What? Who was my team last year in the NBA? After one game, was it the Bulls with Billy Donovan? One game into the season last year, the Chicago Bulls had a players-only meeting.
Is it better to be doing a meeting like super early in the season like this, or do what the Giants did and wait all the way till the end of the year when you're out of it to finally hold a meeting?
It's a great question. As the Giants dress like Oompa Loompas and Willy Wonka as they head to Arizona and they take that game one of that series.
I think that was a team meeting too.
Yeah, God, yeah, it's just the schnozberries takes like schnozberries. Everyone knows that, Sam. That team. We'll wait for them. Again, I'm teasing Friedman's all week because Sam Lubman's going to unload on the San Francisco Giants 12-3 at Friedman's Appliance. Be there, be square. I'll get all the address information for you shortly.
Gotta Google it.
Gotta Google it. Thank you. But to your point, is it better to have one earlier? I would rather have not any at all, really. When's the last time a player-only meeting worked in a season? That's what I want to know. Do they ever work? I don't think so. Like, if you're having player-only meetings, it's like when Antonio Pierce just said, he's like, we got guys making business decisions. It's like, it's week 3. How? Business decisions? And then you're going to make some too? He's calling out the team in week 3 against the worst team in the NFL the last 2 seasons against the Panthers. We got Dante Whitner calling for a code red for the 49ers. NFL is just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I mean, last night, you witnessed that on full display. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they stink. And they just paid Trevor Lawrence a boatload of money, and he had one of the worst interceptions I've seen all season. Just not even like, I don't know what he was seeing. This is a guy that came out and was going to be one of the greatest prospects in the history of the sport. And he's had moments, but when I saw that contract last year, that Jacksonville Jada, first of all, I knew they had to pay him. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I don't like, is he the guy? You still don't know if he's the, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not right now. It looks like Doug Peterson's going to be fired after just 2 years removed from one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the playoffs. And they played the Kansas City Chiefs pretty well that run. I think his receivers, Trevor Lawrence's receivers, that is, let him down in that game. But a lot's happened since then. And he doesn't look like he's improved at all. In fact, he's regressed since that playoff appearance. And the Jacksonville offense as a whole has regressed. And that's Doug Peterson's baby. So things aren't looking great there. You look over at Cincinnati, the Bengals haven't won a game. Not because it was Joe Burrow's fault yesterday, but because the defense was just horrible. Jaden Daniels, come on down. By the way, we were talking about Bo Nix breakout game. Jaden Daniels, easily the best game a rookie quarterback's had in quite some time, maybe ever. Was he 21-23, the highest completion percentage ever for a rookie quarterback? He was insane. And of course, I had Terry McLaurin on my bench. Thankfully, I got the dub. Sorry, Sam. So Sam Lubman, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cincinnati Bengals, 0-3. And either Mark Grandy or Evan Giddings, one of them too. I'm pulling for Sam out of those 3, I think, to get back into it. I think he can.
It's like how Evan and I had the best draft grades in Yahoo, and now we're both 0-3. Like, there is your proof right there that Yahoo draft grades are absolute bogus.
And ain't nothing you can do about it.
I'm so sorry. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
I was saying that on the road this morning coming in.
Yeah, that was tough. Hopefully all of you who are commuting from the East Bay to San Francisco are, I know BART starts at 5 o'clock or whatever, so most of you who are on BART, that's great. Those of you who aren't, you might get a little backed up. There was an accident over on the overpass when you were getting into the toll plaza from Oakland. But you know what? We're here. We made it, and we're having a good time. So 888-957-9570 Is it time to panic, ladies and gentlemen, with all these 49ers injuries? Javon Hargrave out for the season with a torn tricep. Brock Purdy has a sore back. MRI was clean, listed as day-to-day. Christian McCaffrey, he's going to Germany to get his Achilles checked out. That doesn't sound promising. Is it time to freak out yet? Or is it 1-2? You get a win against the Patriots. You're 2-2. Everything's fine. I don't think everything's fine, but I do think it's early to start panicking. Now, the schedule, again, is going to start heating up for the San Francisco 49ers. After the Patriots, you got the Cardinals, you got the Seahawks, you got the Chiefs, Cowboys, Buccaneers. That's over for the next month and a half. Not easy. But I also haven't been tremendously impressed with anyone in the NFC. Who's dominating the first 2 weeks? The Bucks? The Saints? They just got their asses kicked. They got their asses totally kicked. Baker just got outplayed by Bo Nix, who looked awful in his first 2 games. But he's also a rookie, so I'll cut him some slack. Derek Carr? That was the Derek Carr I knew. Big moments, big game, expectations. He folded. Yeah, put the team a go-ahead touchdown late. Chris Olave, great. Was he like 7 of 20 for like 100 yards? Wasn't good enough. Saquon put the team on that back. By the way, Nick Sirianni, you see the latest comments from the Philadelphia head coach? Yeah, he might take over play calling here and there. What? If I'm Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, what is going on? You're going to take over play call? Nick Sirianni, are you even an offensive guy? I don't even know what you do. Besides, just yell and be rah-rah guy on the sidelines. He does something. I don't know. David in San Francisco wants to join in the conversation. 888-957-9570. Is it time to panic? San Francisco 49ers fan. Javon Hargrave out for the year. Christian McCaffrey, he's going to Germany to get his Achilles checked out. You're already without Deebo Samuel. We'll see with George Kittle. Brock Purdy's got a sore back. Ugh, what is going on? Dave, what's going on, man?
Oh, yeah. Good morning. Great show. I was very disappointed. I was expecting a win Sunday, and that didn't happen. But kind of ready to freak out on the catching the footballs. Just so many drop balls that were right there in their fingers. I was hoping Jennings can teach a class on how to catch a football 101, care of Shanahan.
I like that, David. Are you worried about the injuries at all?
CMC, yeah, I think we need him. Although the rookie guy, Jordan, is doing a fantastic job. So kudos to him.
Absolutely. Hey, David, appreciate you calling in. 888-957-9570. Catch the ball. And you know what? He's not mad at Mason, but you need Christian McCaffrey. I don't think that's a hot take, David. I think if this team wants to get to where they want to go, which is eventually is a Super Bowl, yeah, having Christian McCaffrey would be not quite a necessity, but as close as possible. Because I will say, to your point, Mason has been unbelievable. He's been great. In fact, I would like to feed him more. But again, you're getting all those touches up. You're getting all the... You start psychoanalyzing it. And you know what? I'm so tired of talking about the touches. Oh, he can't have this many touches. He can't have that many touches. Oh, Paul Skeens can't throw this many pitches. I'm so sick of... I don't care. Just let these guys play football. I'll worry about it sometime. I can't talk about it anymore. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. It's like, oh, you threw 100 pitches. That's it. It's like, Jordan Mason is going to have to share a heavy load. And Isaac Guerendo, now that we saw a little bit of him, and he looks competent, didn't fumble the ball, didn't do anything like that, get him some touches. Great. This is why you draft these guys. As I'm just watching the Buffalo Bills absolutely lambaste the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's at 34-3 at the half. Jesus. 23-30 for Josh Allen, 263, 4 touchdowns. Squirrel, sorry. Just NFL right now, it's unpredictable. I thought the Bills are going to be awful this year. I thought the Niners were going to be primed to go back and compete for an NFC championship, and they still might. But through 3 weeks, Bills are looking like that Super Bowl team. Niners are looking like, can they even get to the playoffs? And this is what we talk about. When we're talking about a Super Bowl hangover, it's not always a mindset or anything like that. Like, oh, I don't know. Not the hunger, because the guys are clearly hungry. The Fred Warners of the world, the George Kittles, the Nick Bosa, who's not as rah-rah as those two guys. But you hear his post-game comments and saying, like, we need to wear this loss. We need to feel it. That's a guy that's emotionally invested in this squad. That's a guy that might not be yelling at all the players, but he's feeling it. He's feeling the pressure. And that's a good thing, but also he needs to produce at the same time. But a Super Bowl hangover isn't just a mindset. It's also just wear and tear from the year prior. Getting to a Super Bowl, and you saw it in the receiver doc, if any of you watched it on Netflix, where it chronicled 5 or 6 wide receivers from the NFL, Devontae, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. I think that's all of them. Maybe I'm missing one. But they chronicled all those guys, and you saw Deebo banged up heading into that Super Bowl. You saw George Kittle banged up heading into that Super Bowl. And just trying their best in that Super Bowl, and they didn't do much. Deebo obviously re-aggravated injury, and George Kittle ended up with, 2 catches for 3 yards, something like that? It's wear and tear in the physical health more than the mental health when it comes to the Super Bowl hangover. And you're seeing that on full display right now. All these players that have had so many, going back to that word, touches and playoff games that are even more physical than a regular season game, they're starting to feel it right now. Can they weather this storm, though? Can it be a next man up mentality for the San Francisco 49ers? Is it going to have to be all on Brock Purdy? 888-957-9570. Niners fans, your thoughts. And Kyle Shanahan talking to the media yesterday on his weekly media conference call on the injuries.
Injuries are always a part of it. We've had to deal with it a number of years, sometimes more than others. I think last year, just mainly with some of our main guys, we were very fortunate. They didn't miss too many games. This year has been totally different to start out. So that's been real tough. I'd like to try to stay positive with it that, all of them eventually are going to come back, but that probably changed with Hargrave today. So that was a tough pill to swallow there. But yeah, we definitely haven't had the luck that we had last year.
And that's what it takes sometimes. Luck. Like, I'm not going Andrew here. You have to not only win all those big games, but come away with them relatively unscathed. Or have an injury that's not career or season threatening or anything like that. And right now we're seeing one with Christian McCaffrey, who, again, if you're just joining us, is flying to Germany to meet with specialists to get his Achilles tendonitis figured out. And that scares the hell out of me if I'm a 49ers fan. Because just a month ago, it was, oh yeah, if this is a playoff game, he'd play. Now what? Now what? Is he even going to play the season? If I was a betting man, I'd say no. And do you want him to play this season? That's the thing too. This is such a tricky injury because, again, as you've heard from multiple doctors, you've heard from Christian McCaffrey, you've heard from Kyle Shanahan, it's one of those things where one day it's feeling great, then the next day it's not. And we just saw it with Dre Greenlaw, and it was listed all throughout the playoffs. Achilles, Achilles, Achilles. And then what happened? In the Super Bowl, just running onto the field. It gave way. It's tough. It was tough. What else was tough was to watch that special teams on Sunday in a loss. It was just unacceptable. Kyle Shanahan, your thoughts?
I always love the special teams to help win, but my biggest thing is to not help lose, and it's not by making mistakes. And we had a bad one in Minnesota with the blocked punt, and then we had a bad one this week with giving up the fake punt. So those are 2 things that we got to shore up. I would always love to make plays and stuff on special teams, but the biggest thing is to not be one of the reasons that you lose. And those were 2 huge things, one in Minnesota and then yesterday on that fake punt. And that's stuff we got to be more prepared for first as coaches and get our guys ready for that a lot better than we did yesterday.
Doesn't necessarily need them to win, but definitely not to lose. I don't know if I like that mindset. I don't. You should be reliant on all 3 phases, hoping that they can give you a chance to win every single week. Sean McVay literally said it yesterday. Let me pull that sound up. Sam cut it yesterday. I think I deleted it on accident, but I'll find it. Sean McVay literally credited the special teams for helping them win yesterday. The Rams. Sorry, 2 days ago. It's Tuesday. I know. You get what I'm saying. But Sean McVay knew how important special teams was and is, and made that a focal point of the game plan. And the biggest play of the game not only was the fake punt, but also the return at the very end to set them up at the 50-yard line or past midfield. They won the game. And that was it. Speaking of that long punt return, Shanahan, your thoughts?
You'd love to be able to make the tackle at the gunner. I loved how I think Malik shot his guns, which slows the guy down a little bit. And you need a contained player on that play when he gets to the sidelines. There was a clip in the back which would have negated him from getting to the sidelines. But once they did end up clipping us, he got to that edge, and our contained player who was supposed to be there was not there. He was sucked up in the middle and didn't get to that, which led to a huge play. And that's coaching, that's playing, that's everything. But that's why it happened, and we got to make sure that we get a guy there, because if they do get to the edge, however they get to the edge, you better have a guy in contain, and we didn't.
And here's the cut I was referring to as Kyle Shanahan spoke to the media yesterday, talking about containment, talking about special teams blunders. As he mentioned, he doesn't want the special teams to necessarily win them the game, but he wants them to make sure they don't lose them the game. And I hate that mindset, playing not to lose. Should always try to be making the winning plays no matter what. I get what he's trying to say. Doesn't want to have any boneheaded mistakes. I don't like that mentality. This is the mentality I want from my head coach. Here's Sean McVay of the Los Angeles Rams after the teams win and after their huge special teams day.
Well, I think it's being able to commit to a process, and we've got some better overall athleticism. I think Chase has done a great job, bringing in Scott Frost to be able to help out. But we've got some continuity with the specialists, obviously adding Josh in the mix as a kicker. But you're looking at Ethan Evans take a step as a punter and then obviously as a holder. I think getting Alex Ward back is big. We missed him towards the latter part of the year. It's a big thing people don't talk enough about. But really proud of Chase Blackburn's leadership. He's done an excellent job. That's been a strength of ours through 3 weeks.
Did I hear a Scott Frost reference? Didn't know he was a senior football analyst for the Los Angeles Rams. Nebraska legend, Scott Frost. Big L for Nebraska last week against Syracuse. Don't sleep on Syracuse. Or was it Illinois? Might have been Illinois, not Syracuse. I always get those two schools. Illinois is good, actually. Is that Brett? I was a Bielema, former Wisconsin head coach, former Arkansas Razorbacks head coach, former, I think, assistant also with the New England Patriots for a second. But that's what I want for my head coach. And I get it. They're different. They're not the same guy. That sort of embrace and gassing up the coordinators like he just did right there, I just think it goes a long way. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. What say you? 888-957-9570. Comments from Shanahan. We'll react to more of that on the other side. Plus, are we panicking, Niners fans, with all these injuries? Is it time to panic? Hargrave out for the season. CMC going to Germany. Brock Purdy, sore back. I don't know. Trouble in paradise? We'll discuss it on 95.7 The Game.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study...
is the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game with Joe Spadoni.
Welcome back. One segment down, two more to go here before handing it off to Vontae Hill and Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast. But until then, 888-957-9570 is the number. Is it time to panic, 49ers fans? That's my question to you this morning. A lot of injuries piling up. Already without McCaffrey, now he's going to Germany to go seek specialized treatment for his Achilles tendonitis. No Deebo Samuel. We'll see with George Kittle. He was out last week. Javon Hargrave out for the season, torn tricep. Brock Purdy, sore back. You're already without Dre Greenlaw. You got Talanoa Hufanga back. He looked a little rusty. A lot's happening right now. And you're coming off the worst loss of the season to a team in the Los Angeles Rams that was even more injured than you. And a team that dotted the I's, crossed the T's, and did all the little things to get the win. In all three phases. Not playing to not lose with his special teams, playing to win with his special teams. That's what Sean McVay did. That's what Kyle Shanahan doesn't do when it comes to his special teams. When's the last time his special teams has won him a game? Jake Moody, week 1? The kicker? They don't win him games. It's important. It is. I go back to that. Whenever I think of special teams and plays of winning you games, how could you not go back to Deshaun Jackson, the walk-off against the Giants? That was just all time. And Tom Coughlin just pissed, telling his punter to kick it out of bounds. He didn't kick it out of bounds. Throws his clipboard as D-Jack's calzone. Not a calzone, although I can go for those right now. Just absolutely obliterates the coverage team of the New York Giants. It's an all-time play, still to this day. Jack is in San Leandro. He wants to join the conversation. 888-957-9570. What's going on, Jack? You're on the pregame show.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, man. What you got?
So I guess you kind of touched on the point where I was saying, as far as with Shanahan, he's saying, well, with special teams, they'll win a game but don't lose. I don't understand that. Like, I understand what you said. I don't like that mindset, because kickers, the top 3 scorer leaders in the NFL in history, are kickers.
It's true.
They're kickers.
It's true.
It's Vinatieri, Morton Anderson, and I can't remember the other one. But so what do you mean win or lose a game? How many times have we seen a game where the kicker win the game? How many times have we seen where special teams that they get a good run back and get you to midfield and then set up your quarterback? Like, I mean, so you can't just like brush it off. I feel like he just brushed it off. And it's like, no, but that's why y'all lost the game. Your kicker missed and that kicker didn't.
It's sometimes as simple as that, Jack. Yeah, no, I appreciate the call, man. It's sometimes as simple as that. And again, this is the cut we are referring to. Kyle Shanahan talking to media yesterday on the special teams blunders.
I always love the special teams to help win, but my biggest thing is to not help lose, and it's not by making mistakes. And we had a bad one in Minnesota with the blocked punt, and then we had a bad one this week with giving up the fake punt. So those are 2 things that we got to shore up. I mean, I would always love to make plays and stuff on special teams, but the biggest thing is to not be one of the reasons that you lose. And those were 2 huge things, one in Minnesota and then yesterday on that fake punt. And that's stuff we got to be more prepared for first as coaches, and get our guys ready for that a lot better than we did yesterday.
Again, he's like, I'd love for them to win, but biggest thing is for them not to lose. When you have that kind of mindset, it creates a sense of panic and fear. It does. Whenever you're playing not to lose, we've seen it time in and time out. You get tight, you go prevent defense, you lose the game. And to Jack's point, and San Leandro just called in at 888-957-9570, kicking is important. Punting is important. Coverage is important. And that literally cost you the game. And now, not only did you lose a team without most of its best players, they still had Stafford, they still had Kyrie Williams, but no Kupp, no Puka Nacua, no more Aaron Donald. He's out. They didn't have a couple of their secondary guys. They didn't have a couple of their offensive linemen. And now you're coming back home against a Patriots team that, although got their asses kicked against the New York Jets, they're also, you know what, good enough to keep this a game. And I saw that week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I can't believe the Bengals are 0-3, by the way. It's crazy. It's crazy. The defense is just not good. And what does it say about Kansas City that they struggled against them a couple weeks ago? They struggled against... Kansas City just keeps finding ways to win games. And the Cincinnati Bengals just keep finding a way to lose them. Simple as that. It's the difference. You can go quarterback, you can go head coach, whatever. Again, it goes back to culture. It goes back to culture. And right now, the Kansas City Chiefs have a winning one. The 49ers have established also a winning culture. And is that going to be what they lean on going forward here? That culture and that mindset. Because they got to lean on something when these injuries start mounting up. You can't just, keep going back to, oh yeah, we'll be fine. Hey, we got more depth. We got more depth. We had more depth last week on defense than that Rams offense. And that didn't do anything. Before we hit the break, let's go out to Kevin. He's in the town. What's up, Kevin? You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. What you got?
How you doing, Joe?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's a Tuesday.
Right on, man. Hey, I'm in panic mode. I'm in Dante Whitner, hit the red button. I just, like we talked about expectations. You just were, played Kyle Shanahan. I mean, the expectation is average. That's basically what he's saying. Like, he doesn't want the special teams to lose the game. He just wants them to do the right things, right? I get it. He wants them to, X's and O's, to not make mistakes and stay in their lanes, like on the run back and stuff like that. But I mean, I just feel like we're setting an expectation of average. Doesn't he want to expect more? I mean, it's like you said, playing not to lose. This guy, every time they pan to him on the broadcast, he's got his head down in his playbook, even when they're on defense. Maybe you should call a timeout when you see you have a bad matchup, on that last play of the game where they got the PI. I mean, help your rookie defensive coordinator out a little bit. I feel like the guy's got too much on his plate. He puts too much emphasis on the offense as far as his coaching duties. He's the coach of the whole team. He's not the coach of just it's like me running a store or a big business, and I'm sitting in the office writing the schedule the whole time, only focused on the schedule. It makes no sense to me. It bothers me, and I'm getting tired of it.
That's Kevin in Oakland. I appreciate it. That's frustration right there from a fan. You feel it with your head coach. When things aren't going well, you're going to start looking at the things that need to be improved upon. And right now, special teams is absolutely one of them. That was an unacceptable performance. We'll see if it improves throughout the season. But again, throughout Shanahan's tenure as 49ers head coach, it has not been a strength. If anything, as he alluded to, it's been a weakness. All right, we're up against it. One more break. On the other side, more of your calls, more of your texts. We'll wrap up this show and hand it off to Bonta Hill and Joe Shasky. They got Baldy on today, 7:30, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. So Baldy, each and every Tuesday, 7:30, Shark Week. You're not going to want to miss it. That's coming up next on 95.7 The Game.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired.
Spadoni, right here on 95.7 The Game.
Brock Purdy!
Brock will be fine. Sore back, please. He's too young for a sore back anyways. Old Brock. 24, please. He's doing just fine. One more segment here before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky at the top of the hour. But we've been talking about panic, code red, whatever you want to say. On the Niners injuries, the team's 1-2. Hargrave out for the season. Christian McCaffrey going to Germany. Kyle Shanahan talking about special teams blunders and wanting the special teams just not to lose them the game. Leonard Floyd, where's he? Is he on a milk carton still? I haven't seen him. We're talking with, Nick Bosa, and he's saying you have to feel this loss. You can't just move on from it.
I think we have to feel the loss for sure. We can't just move on and act like it's fine. You feel the loss and you just start stacking week by week.
I see this article right now. It's pretty wild. We were talking about special teams last segment and just, the lack of emphasis on it for the San Francisco 49ers. And the Rams last year were the worst at special teams. They go all the metrics, everything. They were one of the worst special teams units all last year. And they had their coordinator, Chase Blackburn, and they retained him. And Sean McVay, you heard it there on the cut, wanted to give a huge shout out to him because they were the difference in that win over the 49ers on Sunday. Retained him. They worked at it. They got better. And there you go. Gave his coordinator confidence, which gave him confidence in the players, which, again, not saying Shanahan is incapable of doing these things. I just don't think the emphasis has ever been there for that unit. It clearly wasn't there last year for the Rams, and McVay had a wake-up call in a major way and made sure it was early on the season because they were 0-2, and without the special teams, they'd be 0-3, and they'd be along with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Cincinnati Bengals were saying, yeah, they might be done. Jags for sure are done. They stick a fork in them, medium well, night. And no, I don't eat my steaks that way, but they're done. God, I still can't believe they paid Trevor all that money. It's not going to be great. It's not going to end well. Like who's taking over that team? Like Doug Peterson's probably going to be on his way out if they don't figure things out. And then who wants to take over that job? I know Trevor Lawrence is highly touted and he has skill, but sooner or later he's got to put it all together and win games. Last 2 seasons he has been unable to do that. And you look at that division now, CJ Stroud, he's not going anywhere. Although he just got humbled last week against Sam Darnold. Anthony Richardson, we'll see. They got a big one. And Will Levis, he's easily the worst in that division. He has some arm. Will Levis, he clearly has, some elite qualities. Arm strength would be one of them. But the decision making and the IQ at times is baffling, to say the least. He has some of the worst turnovers maybe just the quarterbacks in general in the AFC South outside of CJ Stroud, who's easily the most discerning when it comes to decision making. But Anthony Richardson had an awful one in the end zone. Will Levis threw a horrible pick six. And then Trevor Lawrence yesterday just not seeing the field. And that's why I come back to a guy like Brock Purdy, who's just as young as all those guys. And it's the decision making. That's why you should feel confident in this team still. It's easy to look at the injuries. It's easy to look at the defense. But if Brock gets some of his weapons back, and hopefully he does, in Kittle or Debo, and if Mason can keep running the way he can, they should be able to be in all of these games. And still win, obviously. I'm not saying they're going to be, 7-10 or anything like that. They should still be fighting for a playoff spot. Again, I'm not that impressed with anyone in the NFC right now. We're 3 weeks in, and what do we know right now? The Bills, they look legit. Chiefs keep finding ways to win, and that's about it. The Jaguars stink. Andy Dalton is now the greatest quarterback in the NFL. Get a win this week. If you're San Francisco, everything will be okay. And Purdy, we trust, right? I mean, if you have confidence in your quarterback, you should be able to go out there and run. How many times, again, I'm not comparing these two together, but just comparing franchise quarterbacks. How many times did Tom Brady have to go out there every week without some of his top guys? You know what? You got Tom Brady, you should win. Peyton Manning, same thing. Oh, you got Peyton Manning still. You should win. Patrick Mahomes, you should win. I think I'm ready to kind of put that level of expectation on Brock Purdy. If Brock's out there, I got faith that there's a chance that they could win, which is an incredible compliment to a quarterback, let alone a quarterback in his second full season, starting his second full season, I should say. Again, I cannot sing the praises enough from his performance, and it was just unfortunate that we're talking about special teams gaffes. We're talking about the defense not showing up instead of his connection with Jawan Jennings, Jordan Mason's performance, and all of that. We should be talking about that. But instead, we're talking about this.
Code red. I'm ready to hit the red button.
Ooh.
And mainly because they're not doing anything well. They're not stopping the run. They're not setting the edge. They're not getting consistent pressure on the quarterback. They're not stopping the explosive plays. They're not tackling well. They're not communicating well. They're not playing leverage. They're not doing anything well right now. And the margin for error is very slim in the National Football League. And when you're not right where you're supposed to be, you don't have the continuity on defense, it's easy for teams and quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford and of his caliber to dissect you. So they're going to have a players-only meeting this week and get back to basics and get back that championship DNA and identity and play physical within the trenches.
I don't think a players-only meeting is necessary this early in the season, but there needs to be some sort of soul-searching on the defensive side. It's just not good enough right now. And will a big-time performance against Jacoby Brissett and Ramondre Stevenson change all that? I'm not sure. It'll make your mentals feel better if you're a Niners fan, for sure. Just getting a win for the mentals feels great. But when you go up against the James Connors and Kyler Murrays of the world, when you go up against the Kenneth Walkers of the world, when you go up against whether it's Carson Steele or Pirine or Pacheco, is it going to be a good enough then? That's going to be the question. That's going to be the litmus test for this defense, which again, heading into this year, we all thought was going to be a strength. I did. I was singing their praises. I was still a little skeptical, I will say, not to pat myself on the back. I was still a little skeptical on the secondary. Obviously not starting with Hufanga out there. Now that Hufanga's back, we'll see. Jair Brown, who made some plays in the Super Bowl, got the huge pick. Makes plays still occasionally, but still young. I know what I'm getting from Charvarius Ward. Deommodore Lenoir has been solid. Outside of that, and outside of Fred Warner, it's been a lot of, running around. Kind of like a chicken with his head cut off at times. At some of these guys. I haven't seen the push from the defensive line that I'm accustomed to seeing over the years. And now with Hargrave, who was already kind of a disappointment, now you're going to miss him. And that's just a lack of depth at this point. Do you go out and make a move? Or would that be too panicky early on? I know Hassan Reddick's out there. I know he's not the same position as Hargrave. I know he could help. But are you willing to give up the capital and give out another contract for a guy who, again, missed all training camp? Saw me if you've heard this before. Niners side a guy that missed all training camp and OTAs and everything. And maybe he's not the same guy. Because we're seeing that right now with Brandon Ayuk. And we're seeing that right now with Trent Williams. It's just not good enough. And specifically with Brandon Ayuk, this is not the way he wanted to start the season. It's 3 games in now, and it's been anything but second team all-pro level, which is what he was last year. As I pull up his stats, right now he's got 11 receptions for 119 yards. Juwan Jennings crushed that in one game. No touchdowns, it's been tough to watch. How many drops does he have? It feels like he has just as many drops as he does receptions. It hasn't been great. Did they even log that on Pro Football Reference? I'm looking at it right now. Rushing, drops, fumbles. They have the fumbles. Can't seem to find it. Text line, help your brother out. 888-957-9570. Amount of drops listed for Brandon Ayuk this year. Because he's only got 11 receptions. And it feels like he's already had a couple per game. The pressure is on him. The pressure is on Purdy to get him involved. And the pressure is on this 49ers team to get a win again. And we'll start diving into the New England Patriots and that side of things tomorrow and as the week goes on. But right now, it's just weathering the storm of these injuries and leaning on your quarterback, Brock Purdy, to get you through that. And right now, I'm going to lean on Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky to get me through till the 10 o'clock hour on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.